Onto your markets now. Asian markets saw big fluctuations in today's session. This as Donald Trump took office, warning that he could impose stiff tariffs on Canada and Mexico next month, but appeared to delay any action against China for now. The new U.S. president's announcement that the country's closest neighbors could be hit with 25% levies as soon as February the 1st also jolted currency markets, with the Mexican peso and Canadian dollar tumbling. The Nikkei share average rose by 0.32%. The Hang Seng Index ended the session up 0.91%, while the Shanghai Composite Index closed flattish, down 0.05%. Of course, we know that the U.S. markets were not open yesterday due to the Martin Luther King Day. The JSE trading higher, with all share index now trading up 0.2% at 84,921 index points. The rand's trading at 18.67 against the US dollar, 19.31 against the euro, and 22.86 against the pound. Gold is trading at $2,720 an ounce, while platinum's trading at $938 an ounce, and Brent crude oil is trading at $78.65 a barrel. Well, for more on the markets, I'm joined by Makwe Masilela. He's the Chief Investment Officer at Makwe Fund Managers. Thank you so much, Makwe, for joining us. Happy New Year to you. So how are markets reacting to the inauguration of Donald Trump? And presumably it's going to be a roller coaster of uncertainty.
Definitely, and all because we are trying to second guess, his tariff plans, and also markets are waiting for more details when it comes to his policies, or more of clarity more than anything. And yes, we expected him to sign those executive orders, but now markets are more apprehensive because now people need details. And what you just mentioned in our intro, some of the stuff that he mentioned about the Mexico stuff like that, that was not even part of the official statement that he was making. It was more of a follow-up, answering questions, stuff like that. So markets got excited at some point, We've seen the rand strengthening because nothing was mentioned when it comes to tariffs. Only later, and hence we're seeing the reaction today that the rand also lost, unfortunately, some of its value. That's after gaining because the US dollar itself was weak when the guy was making his official acceptance speech.
So what's your expectation around inflation in the South African context, and what do you expect the Reserve Bank to decide on the 30th of January?
We expect our inflation to still remain within the midpoint, which is 4.5%. And we know that's where the Reserve Bank is more comfortable, and that meets our inflation expectations for 3 to 6 months. Yes, we could still see that the petrol price increases that we've seen in December had an impact when it comes to the numbers when they are released tomorrow. But we expect the likes of food prices to be able to help out. And we think that our Reserve Bank, given the inflation numbers that have been coming out of the US, reinforcing the fact that we might still get some interest rate cuts from the US. Probably we will also get an early year present from our Reserve Bank and give us another 25 basis point cut.
So what's your view on the outlook for commodities, especially the platinum group metal space? Would you put your money in some of those shares at the moment?
If you look over a 3-year period, most of them, especially the big guns, they've been down over 50%. And if you look into platinum itself, remember the record highs it reached was around 2008 or so, and that was just over $2,002, and now you're talking anything below 1,000. And it has been issues about supply, issues about the supply, stuff like that. But if we expect world economies to start picking up, if we expect Donald Trump's policies, doing business much easier in the U.S., cutting taxes in the U.S., we expect China to continue with the stimulus package, then we expect that at least world economies will pick up, and then most probably there might be a decent demand. Yes, we don't expect them to shoot out the lights, but the levels where they're trading, I think, is kind of attractive.
So what about Sasol? We've talked about Sasol many a time. They made an announcement last week about focusing more on their chemical business, particularly on their assets in the United States. Are you still a Sasol believer? Can it recover, to some degree this year? Because, of course, it fell quite markedly in 2024.
I think it has to, and it's important for them to concentrate on the US. Remember, that's the very same asset that cost them a lot of money, had mismanagement, had budget overruns, stuff like that, had some serious rundowns, and now they're fortunate they've managed to get a partner. They're in a JV. But should chemical prices improve, which we expect that they will improve going forward, then we expect the US project to do well. Maybe to put it in context, chemicals themselves contribute almost 35% when it comes to Sasol's earnings, and the US project only contributes 6%. So it's very critical for them to make sure that they recoup most of their money that they've put into that project. And yes, it stands a better chance. And if it does very well, it might even be listed as a standalone. So that will able to unlock shareholders' value going forward. But it all depends on what is happening with the global economy.
Yeah, lots of conditionalities there in your answer. Is it a buy, sell or hold?
Hold.
Thank you so much. Makwe Masilela, he's Chief Investment Officer at Makwe Fund Managers.